So hi, on the Noise Podcast. I'm Shane.
I'm Glory.
Throwback Monday being recorded on a Monday.
For next Monday? It's never been heard of. Ever.
No. But as I'm sure you could have told by the title, today we're chatting about My Chemical Romance's 2010 Danger Days, The True Lives of the Fabulous Killjoys. I don't know if I've ever actually said the name in full.
I don't think anyone has ever. Maybe Gerard Way, like once, but I'm pretty sure everyone just calls it Danger Days.
Yeah, to me, it's just Danger Days, or DD for short. Not Danger Days, The True Lives of the Fabulous Killjoys. I had to read it because I couldn't tell you the full title.
Yeah, no, fuck that.
It's also not on the cover art.
No, it's just Danger Days.
Yeah. So like,
even they knew that no one was gonna call it that.
Yeah, they don't have the title on the cover art. It's just when you buy it physically, it's on a sticker that comes off when you peel the wrap off.
Yeah. Okay.
So like, it's never something I think of. I just see the picture. I'm like, that's Danger Days.
Exactly.
But this is I guess their last full length record. We will be chatting about Conventional Weapons. We're counting it as a record, even though it's a collection of singles, long EP, whatever they call it. We're chatting about it because it's 10 songs, and we like My Chemical Romance.
30 minutes.
Yeah, so
it's basically a fucking album.
Yeah, so we're gonna dive into it, but this is their last full length, and the weirdest of the bunch.
It is. It's definitely a big shift in their sound overall. They went from very grungy is such an off word. I'm probably gonna be crucified for that in the future, but kind of like that kind of grungy, very dirty sounding rock music to a very polished pop focused rock album. It's such a fucking weird shift.
Yeah.
It's really yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely an interesting shift. I like it though, and I have forgotten how much I liked it because when I was a My Chem fan, and this was always, I had my time with this record, but it was the one I might have spent the least amount of time with. And coming back to My Chem's discography, I was always like, well, I'm gonna go for the other records, and never really came back to this one. So this was my first time revisiting this record in full in a long time. Obviously, know the hits, heard a couple of the songs live, but didn't revisit the record in full anytime recently. But I like it a lot more than I did back in the day.
Yes, absolutely. This album was one of my favorites off the bat. I didn't have the same experience as you. I was kind of attached to mainly Three Cheers and Danger Days. Those were like my fucking records. Like, I turned on Look Alive Sunshine for the first time in maybe like 4 years, and I was reciting that shit, and I was surprising myself because I was like, damn, bitch, you listen to anything else, or was it just this fucking album?
Damn, bitch.
Like, I couldn't fucking believe it. I was like, how the fuck do I remember, like, what is his name? Dr. Death?
Yeah.
Dr. Death? Yeah, Dr. Death's monologue intro at the beginning of the record. It's fucking ridiculous. Album is incredible. After working their way through their discography and seeing kind of the evolution from Bullets to this, it almost doesn't feel like the same band. Because you go from this very raw sounding music, as I said, kind of messy. I mean, it still makes sense, and it's just kind of like a sound of music, but kind of like this messy, angsty rock, to now this very sunshiny, bright rock is so fucking weird.
Yeah.
It's so great. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, it's I can, obviously wasn't around, listening to My Chem when they were active and, all that. But I can see why this one had the most pushback and was not as well received by the rest, because it is such a shift. And going through the records, one by one here, is, you know, obviously the shift was just, it's so noticeable. It's just like, what the fuck? Like, now we're Killjoys.
Now we're Killjoys.
Yeah, we went from dying to Killjoys, a desert.
Yeah.
Shooting.
This is also obviously a concept record, along with their past two albums, The Black Parade, and Three Cheers for Sweet Revenge. This album was also partnered up with a comic that Gerard Way, a comic series that he made that actually goes through the storyline of the Killjoys and who they are, who they're fighting, sex robots. It's like a whole thing, man. Again, he's a genius. I think he's so fucking smart and creative. And I think, me personally, have you read the comics? I have not. No, I only know two people who have, and that's two of our friends. That's about it. But I've heard that the comics do clear up a lot of things, like especially Destroya, that cleared, like, once our friend told us like what was going on in Destroya, I was like, that's why they're moaning. Okay, cool. So I do think it is something like a little guide that maybe you should be reading as you're listening through. Is it necessary? I don't think so. You're still able to follow along the story because of the traffic reports, the opening, the outro where it's goodnight Dr. Death and he's saying goodbye, and then there's fucking loud ass what's it fucking called, the national anthem or whatever. You're still able to follow along, you still understand what's happening, you still understand the progression of the story. So I think they nailed it with that, but the book I do also feel would help your experience listening through.
I you know, never read the comics because you know, I feel like they are kind of hard to come by. And yeah, so I never read them. I'm sure they're online or whatever, but you know, totally able to go along with the record and pick up on enough of the lore. And obviously you watch the music videos, you pick up on it there.
Come on,
and you know, they were making fucking movies by 2010. The budget was movie level at that point.
It was so fucking cool watching those when I was younger, especially just the Na 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 music video. That was like, that shit was mine and probably millions of other kids' like favorite thing for a minute. It was so bright.
The Sing music video always blows me away. Because it's like it's like a sci-fi kind of thing, like the vibe. It's fucking.
Aren't they in like a car wash or something in that? Is there something with it? There's something like that.
It's a dark room that gives me the sci-fi vibes.
Okay. I don't think I've seen that one in a minute. I could recreate the Na 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 music video though. That one, I got that shit. I could play all the parts, recite all the lines, costumes and everything, man. I got that shit.
That's great. But the songs themselves stand on their own, whether or not you give a shit about the lore, you're listening to the lore, or you're just fucking lost and confused why they're moaning in Destroya. Like the songs stand on their own, and I think that the record flows incredibly well. Probably one of the first times I've really went through, because you know, when I was younger I was like, I just want the music, I don't give a fuck about the lore, I don't give a fuck about the interludes, I don't give a fuck about any of that, and I don't want any of the songs to be slow. I want this record to rip and just rip, and there was a way to do that by skipping through the interludes and a couple of the slow songs. So that was the way I would listen to the record. But I finally have the patience and I'm not an angsty teen anymore. I was able to go through and listen to the record in full, and it flows so fucking well, and makes me mad that little old me used to skip Scarecrow and Summertime so I could have Save Yourself and Destroya back to back, because who the fuck did I think I was?
And every time you would shit on Summertime, I would lose like a couple weeks off my life, because that song is easily one of their best songs that they have ever created. I will fucking stand by that shit. It is such a beautiful song. The lyrics are so sweet. How it builds up, it's so fun. I saw it live. Thank God. I was worried the one time I fucking saw them, because you saw them like 20 billion times.
Please.
And every single time they would play Summertime, you'd be like, oh, they're playing fucking Summertime again. it is an incredible song, and I'm glad that you're able to appreciate it now.
Yeah, yeah. It's still, listening through the record, I obviously my favorites still remain my favorites from that time, but I have grown a lot since I found this record, and I'm able to respect and enjoy the album in full. And like right before we hopped on this call, I was going through the record again and stopped around Scarecrow, and I was fucking jamming Scarecrow. And Scarecrow was always like, if I had to pick a favorite between those two songs that I would hit the skip button on, Scarecrow was always the one that I like. Summertime was a little too fucking upbeat and happy sounding.
He's in love
for my okay, and I was a depressed 15-year-old listening to the album Glory. Like,
yeah, okay.
I didn't want happiness and love. I wanted to feel sad. And this record doesn't really do that for you.
No, I was going to say, go listen to fucking Bullets, dude. Like,
why do you think I love that record so much?
Right, yeah.
But yeah, I really enjoy this album. I know that this seems to be a hot take. I am a huge fan of Sing.
Oh, what? Sing is a great song.
I've seen people online be like, "Ugh, Sing." I'm like, what do you mean? It was a single for a reason.
Oh my god, it's so fucking dancey.
Yeah.
Sing it for the boys, sing it for the girls. Come on, sing that shit. Like, that song is so fucking good.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of Sing. I'm a big fan of Planetary Go. The Only Hope for Me is You. Save Yourself, I'll Hold Them Back, and Destroya are like hands down my favorites on the record. I know I just named half the album. I enjoy the album in full, but like that was my little playlist when I was like, I want nothing but the fast tunes. Even though obviously not every single one of those is ripping. I'm a big fan of those songs. I think they are the strongest ones on the record. But Save Yourself, I'll Hold Them Back is probably my favorite song on the album. It's
for real.
It is so like it just feels so big. And I know it's like technically a deep cut, but it is so catchy, but also feels so big because of the build up in the song. Like that the opening, you know what I'm talking about.
Of course.
And then just the crescendo at the end where like Gerard is yelling at the top of his lungs. I think that song is the peak on Danger Days. I love it hands down. I've always loved it, and huge fan of that song. But I love all the ones I named as well as ones I didn't name, which only left a handful. But big fan of this record, and have regained a new love for it. Which I'm glad that we're doing this because, like, obviously love the first three records, but this was the one where I spent the not even the least amount of time with, but didn't spend a lot of time with it in full. So it's like now I can go listen to a My Chem record and feel like I'm listening to it almost for the first time again because I had such a unique listening experience with it when I was listening to it a lot. So it's like now I have new love for a My Chem record, which I haven't had in a long time. So that's good.
Yay! That makes me so happy. Fuck yeah. I love this record a lot. As I said, I played this one to death, so I've kind of always been very attached to it. I used to kind of go along with the boo, Danger Days, boo, but then I would also counter that with boo, Bullets, boo, I only like 2 of their records, boo. Which immediately my opinion was discarded as soon as I said that, so now I've just owned up to liking Danger Days. I do like Bullets now, though, so I have also found new appreciation for a record that I didn't really like before, which is cool.
Go. Hell yeah.
Look at that. My favorites off the record, you gave 4, I think. So
I gave like 6.
You gave like however the fuck many. As I said, my personal favorite song of theirs of like all time is Summertime. I think it's my second favorite song. My number 1 is, as I said, To the End, and then also Give Them Hell Kid is like tied with that. I don't know, it's fucking up. They're kind
of like partners because they flow into each other so well.
Exactly. It's like just count it as one song. So Summertime is my favorite, and then Na Na Na. I know it's like one of their biggest songs ever, but it is such a important song in the storyline establishing this just everything what you're going to go into in this record. I think it's a fantastic opener. I think it builds up so well. I think just the Look Alive Sunshine into Na 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 is just so, it's a fucking classic.
Mm-hmm.
So second favorite, Planetary Go, and then fuck, Destroya and Vampire Money. I love Vampire Money so much. It is not a secret track, but basically I always saw it as kind of like a B-side on it, because you have Goodnight Dr. Death, and that is the outro of the album, and that's just the album ending, and then Vampire Money comes in out of fucking nowhere, and you're like, oh, okay, I guess there's more. And it's not attached to the storyline at all, I don't think. I think it is just purely a fun little B-side that they had in response to Twilight. So that's a little fun tidbit of information. Great record. I think it flows incredibly. I think it covers a lot of sounds. And I think it's written so well. I love this record a lot. I really do.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought up Vampire Money, because I do enjoy that song, but I was like, I'm gonna wind up naming basically everything except Na Na Na, and the two songs that I've already mentioned were some of my least favorites. If I named everything, I also think that The Kids from Yesterday obviously fits in with the storyline, but I also think that it's a very sweet song, you know, looking at it as just like the last record from the band, the last, like, technically the last song, because like obviously Vampire Money closes out the record, but the last song within the storyline, which should like really be the last song on the record, Kids from Yesterday, fits in multiple different ways thematically, and also, you know, with this being the last record from the band, the last like full song with them. So I've always liked that song. I thought that it was always sweet. I understand that the importance that Na 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 has in the storyline, and that it is a huge song, but my God, I am not the biggest fan of it. I think the Na 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 is a little much.
You just don't get the vibe.
Is what I'll say. I don't mind the song, but I am like, ugh. I always have to have a hot take for everything that you enjoy, you know?
So you're just a hater, is what you're saying.
I'm not a hater. I was not a fan of that song before you said you liked it.
Well, I have loved the song since it fucking came out, man. So yeah.
Listen, it got me into the band, but as I grew, I was just like, man, there are songs that have a lot less repetitiveness on the album. But I understand the importance. I understand why it's such a big song. I understand why it was a single and why it got the big motion picture movie soundtrack music video treatment that it got. I understand all that, but you know, and I think it's an all right song, but I wish it wasn't so heavily focused on the na 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 na.
Yeah. We get it.
Yeah, we get it.
Whatever.
But those are our thoughts on My Chemical Romance's 2010 Danger Days, The True Lives of the Fabulous Killjoys. We both enjoy the record. Gloria's a huge fan of it. I found a new love for it, actually listening to it the way it was intended to, and not the way angsty teen me wanted to listen to it.
It's crazy, right? The way the artist laid it out for you is like the best way to listen to it. It's kind of weird, right?
So weird. The track listing is like important or whatever, and
like they thought it through it and stuff. It's kind of weird.
So weird. But you know, big ups to My Chem. They have always been so they're the track listing and the way they intended for you to listen to it is always the best way. There is always a shitload of thought in the My Chem track listing, especially. So yeah, definitely always listen to it the way the artist intends, but especially a My Chem record, because they are so concept driven. But yeah, the record's solid. I enjoyed it. But other than that, you can follow us on Twitter. It's good_noise_cast. You can follow us on Instagram. It's Good Noise Podcast. Facebook is Good Noise Pod. TikTok is Good Noise Podcast. You can subscribe to us here on YouTube. It would help us out a ton. We've got reviews of their first 3 records up right now. Bullets, 3 Cheers, Black Parade. Those are out right now. Next week, we will be dropping Conventional Weapons, and then after that, we're on to Don Broco.
DB,
Yeah.
let's go.
Glory-
Fuck yeah, I like them a normal amount.
Yeah, Gloria is very excited to be talking about Don Broco, and she is glad that I will finally be going through their discography because she's been telling me to for a year now. So
it will genuinely. I think you're going to be very surprised.
I've liked them because I've seen them live a couple of times, but it was just never something that I went and listened to because I always saw them with other bands. They were always support, and I'm like, I'm gonna go listen to more of that band, the band I went to go see. So yeah, I'll be diving in finally. Probably leave a changed man, hopefully.
You're gonna fuck heavily with Priorities, man. That shit is so good.
So
I'm so excited.
Tune in for that. That'll be after Conventional Weapons. But other than that, I have been Shane.
I've been Glory.
We've been the Good Noise Podcast. See you next week. Bye.
Bye.